Harness Players Podcast back with another episode looking at, if you could believe it, harness racing. That's right. In a world where everything moves at light speed, we're going to bring it back to somewhere around the 30 to 35 mile per hour range. That's at least where these standard breds tend to hit their max velocity. Looking at racing from Yonkers Raceway for Saturday, September. I was about to say August. My brain has not caught up with the inertia of life. September 13th, 2025 at Yonkers Raceway, 12:20 p.m. first post, International Trot Day over at Yonkers. And we have a different type of pick five sequence to look at. Not only is it just $1 minimum in this pick five sequence, $20,000 guaranteed as well, but every race going an added distance at 1.25 miles over the half-mile track at Yonkers. Inside of that, of course, the $1 million MGM Yonkers International Trot, a pair of invitationals, and then towards the tail of the show, we're going to quickly go over the last two overnight races inside of this pick five sequence. And I said we, okay, I know you just see me, but it's not just me. We have Mikee P back, we have Thomas Svensen back, and we have Edison Hatter in a hatchback on today's show to look at this pick five sequence for the International Trot Day at Yonkers. Of course, all these faces you may have saw last week. We went over the invitees for the International Trot field, gave you an introduction of who these horses might be. We'll talk more about the International Trot as the second race. We're going to go in chronological order for this pick five sequence that starts in race number 5 at Yonkers Raceway on Saturday, September the 13th. And it all starts with the $200,000 Grade 2 Aria Invitational Pace with 10 horses going to the gate. You may notice the graphic a little different this time. I figured since there's the second tier with the 9 and the 10, you should have a little line to know which horses are starting in the second tier of these races, because they can only go 8 across at Yonkers. But Mike, you were talking before we started recording. This is probably the best Yonkers card of the season, and it's starting out gung-ho, in my mind, with a potentially beatable favorite in Captain Albano. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. A couple things you didn't mention. Afternoon card here at Yonkers, so they start early. They start at 12:20. So if you're looking forward at night, you're going to miss it. You want to jump in early on Yonkers on Saturday. This pick five for $1 is an absolute fantastic sequence. We have these massive fields, $1.25 races, the $1 minimum, 20,000 guaranteed pool. So this is the time, if you like to bet harness racing, stakes races, that you want to jump in on pools like this. You might have to spend a little bit more money to get this ticket, but I think if you get it right, it's going to pay extremely well. So you start with the pace, and it's the Aria Invitational. This race has been a race that a lot of these horses have pointed to, especially these Yonkers specialists. And this is really no exception. You see Moscow Ben, who was dominant earlier in the year in the Borgata, Coach's Corner, Duncan, Chase H. Hanover, all horses that love this racetrack. So they show up in this spot. Now, Coach's Corner finally draws well. I mean, this is probably the worst drawing horse in harness racing, to be honest. If you look, I mean, he's always drawn poorly. Last two races at Woodbine, he's had the 8 post. He likes this racetrack. He gets an inside post. I think that the elongated 1.25 distance should suit him. And I like him on top in this race. I would use him. I'd use Moscow Ben also. 2 starts leading up to this spot. Earlier in the year, he was a monster over this track. And now his recent form is not great, but that's okay. I'm okay with those 2 starts with outside post leading up to this spot for $200,000. I think he's going to be much better. And if he's any version of his former self earlier in the year, he's going to be tough to beat. I would use him also. I think Racing Rebel has a chance, racing very well. This is a step up in class for him, but he's very fast right now. You get Yannick, you get an inside post. He's drawn poorly also in recent starts, so I think he's a use. I'm not going to use Captain Alberto. I'm going to make him beat me because he's going to be a very short price in this race, and then maybe a little desperate man just because how much he loves this track. He's always competitive. He's made $1.7 million. He gets an inside second tier post. So he's probably going to need to trip out, but I wouldn't want to leave him off tickets. So a little spready to start the sequence, but this is a fun spot. This is a good race.
I feel like if you're going against the 9 to 5 morning line, who I have to imagine is probably going to be favored at post time, you do have reason to try and spread your wings. Some of these horses could offer a bit of a better price. And Edison, this race definitely does have added threads to it, such as, Captain Albano. We know his game most of the time. It's either he can get to the lead and get fractions his own way. The 1.25 miles adds an extra dimension to what we can think of him inside of this spot. But then also he's coming out of that Ewart race where it seems in my mind faster than usual. And we have to wonder at a track like Yonkers where there is no passing lane, if he gets his golden pocket trip, does that maybe put him in jeopardy here? What do you think?
Yeah, it is a difficult spot, Ray. I'm going to sound like a broken record here. I'm sure saying the obvious, Ray, but remember, this is important. That Captain Albano's 22 for 35 lifetime. 2 more furlongs, though. Stretch out. He's never gone this far in his life before, so we kind of mention. Actually, what's funny, though? I'm thinking about this field, and obviously, past experience working a few years at Yonkers. I think he is about the only horse in this field, by the way, legitimately, that has not actually seen this distance before because, Desperate Man wins this race last year, 1.25 miles. I know the likes of Coach's Corner and Duncan were in this race. J.J. Hanover tried one of the Borgata eligible races this spring where we went 1.25 miles, so did Mostel Ben. So Firestone did, so did Verdun and Jamaica Rock. So literally every horse in this field but him has gone 1.25 miles before in his life. So it actually is a unique fact here. But look, I think he is the best horse in the race. I think there is the question, as you mentioned, though, how does this trip work out? 1.25 miles is different, though, in the sense, too, of, starting on that backstretch, time into that turn, what trip does he work out? Is he able to get the lead? Is he able to secure the pocket? Like you said, no passing lane. It does all add dimensions to it, but at the end of the day, I think he is on paper at least the horse to beat. The only one I think that can beat him, and again, I won't rehash what Mike's already said, I think it's Coach's Corner. He is. I think that's a factual statement. He should get a trophy for the worst drawing horse, or whatever Mike said. I mean, that's pretty darn accurate. He continuously has drawn poorly. Post 8, I believe, 2 years. Post 7, then post 8, the last 2 years in the Borgata final. You see the most recent post in the last few races. Post 8, I believe, in the Garrity, maybe 2 years in a row up at Saratoga. I mean, it's been horrific for Coach's Corner. So he finally draws well. We know the talent's there. Jason Bartlett, of course, the top driver locally. So a Coach's Corner, Captain Albano. That's all I really wanted to get through this race. If you really wanted to go one more deep, I would take Desperate Man before I took Mostel Ben. But post 10, obviously a tricky draw, but Desperate Man obviously has the class, and again, unless I'm mistaken, is the defending champion of this race, and that's a defending champion in the pouring rain as it started to rain about this race last year.
Forgive me if this is maybe accessing too deep into your memory reservoirs that have to mostly be occupied by sending rockets into the atmosphere. But when Mosdale Ben went 1.25 miles, do you remember how he fared? Because just when watching him in the Borgata series, the way that he was always grinding first up, I'm under the impression at least that he should be able to handle the added distance. But how did he do earlier this year?
I think fine. If I remember correctly, I think he was second, but it was one of those spots where I'm trying to remember if that was the 1.25 miles or it was just one of the Borgata legs, but I think it was, I know at the very least, Ray, he was second in a leg of the Borgata where, how shall we say, I think he could have won, but he did not need the points to win. And right, he's kind of got that grindy first up style, so he wasn't able to get there, but I don't think he raced poorly per se. So I think that might be the correct race I'm thinking of. But nonetheless, right. I mean, with his style, and especially if this race does set up with some people, I don't think there's any concern about that.
How about for you, Thomas? It really does seem like just from a gambling perspective, you do have to decide whether you're on the Albano bandwagon or you're taking the stab, because that can really make or break how much this $20,000 guaranteed pick 5 pays.
Me and Mike is on the same horses here. I also gonna go against Captain Albano. I don't think the added distance is any factor for him in the positive way. I also don't think he will go wire to wire in this race. I think the only chance he have to win is he get a pocket trip and be lucky. So 9 to 5 morning line, definitely gonna beat him. And I think like Coach's Corner is for me my favorite. I think he have Jason Bartlett, who is like the Yonkers guy. He have a good post. I think he's been racing good in almost all races. I also think Racing Rebel is very interesting with Yannick. We know Yannick, at least you're gonna have value for your money that he's gonna take a shot if you have he don't gonna be locked up. So and we know he can go on Northfield, fly around there. He have a good post. I also like Desperate Man when they add the distance, and he's gonna have Jason Bartley's helmet on coach's corner, I think. So depends how he gonna sit during the mile, but he's gonna be tough the last half. He's gonna be tough, and I definitely gonna try to beat Captain Albano with coach's corner, Racing Rebel, and Desperate Man. Maybe Mossdale Bend from the rail, but I don't know where he's gonna end up from the rail. So
I mean, for a horse that does tend to take back, the pylon post, I don't see as too much of a detriment. With a second tier of starters, you do have to wonder when he's going to get going and what type of trip he might get if he has to go first up or he gets a helmet.
If you want to take a stand and take some interesting thing, is just to try the single on maybe one of you taking on coach's corner, because he is definitely like,
he's gonna be the second choice though, don't you think?
Yeah, he's going to be. I think Captain Albano going to be 4 to 5, maybe even money, because you know how it is with Noel Daly, Todd McCarty, a horse who have a Grand Circuit name. I think we can get 5 to 2 on coach's corner in the win pool. I don't know. It would be cool to see if we had like home in Europe that you can see the percentage on the money in the Big 5. Because if we know coach's corner would be like, if Captain Albano is 50%, maybe higher in the Big 5, I will definitely try to. Then I don't want to have any ticket with him on.
Oh, for sure. I especially with the outside draw, you could argue that puts Captain Albano in a better position to work his trip. But again, every time I've seen him even go a mile, when he doesn't have that pocket seat, he just doesn't fire the same way. You can put him second over. He does not have the same kick as when he got locked for life in the North America Cup a few years ago. So to me, it just seems like if he's going to be the logical favorite here, you take a stand against him. Coach's corner, if you are going to spread, I do see the merit of maybe having tickets where he's your lone A, and then you have some Bs in the event that you want to go elsewhere. Like Mossdale Bend could be a B. Desperate Man, I would need maybe like over 10 to 1 on him inside of this spot.
Happening.
Right, and so that's why I'm questionable of what value he actually provides in this race.
But if I ask you like this, Ray, if we had percentage money in the pick side on Desperate Man, if the percentage money on Desperate Man was like 7-8%, then you will have him on your ticket. If he had that on the money in the pick 5, so that's like the hardest part for me, the betting pick 5 and pick 4 in this country. I don't know where the money is, because the win money have nothing to say about the pick 5 pools.
Yeah, exactly. It's not 1 to 1, because if you're saying it's 7 or 8% in the pick 5 coverage, for example, that means in the win pool he should be at least like 13 to 1 or something like that. Yeah, but he might be the fourth choice in the betting, which means he has maybe 20% coverage.
That's why when we have the Scandinavian pool for the big races to the Hambo and Breeders' Crown like that, I can put the percentage in the pick 5 and pick 4 pools up with the win pool in America. And some of them, if it is not a Scandinavian driver, Aki or Dexter or Yannick or Tactor horse, then I'm gonna get super value, because they don't know what horses is home. So that's like, I hope in the future maybe we can get it in the US with the percentage where the money is in the pick 5 and pick 4 pools.
Well, I know it's the marquee race of the day, but we're going to go right into it. It's the second leg of this $20,000 guaranteed pick 5, the $1 million grade 1 MGM Yonkers International Trot. And the astute observers among you may have caught a difference from this to what we showed in the preview show last week. A late out from Ideal Lignares representing France, and a late addition for the United States of Southwind Coors, who drew post 7 inside of this Yonkers Trot. Again, 1.25 miles, the distance. Mike, we were speculating of who could potentially be the price plays even before we saw the draws out of this race. And for what it's worth, also pretty solid forecasting I felt we had in that show, even talking about Lexus Cody, how he could fare based on his draw. He gets probably the most interesting post he could have landed in this race. But I don't know about you. When I saw Geo Cash land post 3, and then I saw Thomas changed his legal name above, I'm starting to think that maybe this could be a logical angle here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually want to hear what Thomas has to say first, because he has the opinion that I want to hear leading into this race, and he knows these horses, especially these Scandinavian horses, these French horses, better than me, better than I think than almost anybody in this country. So I'd be curious to see what he thinks, especially given this draw here. I can respond to that for sure. But it's a great race, one that I really can't wait to see. Lexus Cody drawing the rail certainly will shake things up, and is going to lower his price.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I can jump in at the French horse who got scratched. He jogged on Yonkers. He was a little sore coming off the plane, and when they jogged him, it was lame. That's why he got scratched. So something happened on the shipping, certain course coming in. Now we can go a little easy. Like if we take Gamin Yaba and Double Deceiver. Is at Melander Farm. They trained today, so I have a couple of eyes over there. Double Zero, when they go a little slow with him, he don't look super good, but he never done that when he was there too. But when he trained, when they put in go fast the last half, he looked like normal, super good. Gamin Yaba did not struggle on the Melander turns on the farm there, but he is more like a company horse coming here when Redden is coming by himself. Redden is driving by himself, and that's not like he's not a superstar in the bike. So he is a trainer. So he's driving the horse there. He have, in my opinion, 30-1 morning line is perfect. Lexus Cody drew the rail. It's very interesting with the rail there on him. If he is, I talked with Yannick about him on the Red Mile on Tuesday, and he said about the track, and he said I don't think he have any problem with the half. He don't use any gating pole on him on the other tracks. It's more what foot he wake up on, because if he is on his A game, he don't make a break, then he can go 49, like we have seen in the Vincennes for a couple of years ago. We saw it on Woodbine now. He definitely going to be up close. Maybe he can protect the rail if he goes. I wouldn't be shocked about that. And if not, we know Yannick going to be aggressive with him. Geocache, the only biggest issue I have with Geocache is he is a colt. And he need to be in the detention on Yonkers. It's not like a gelding that can go to the farm. I'm not sure how he is with his mindset to be a colt. I remember his dad, the sire Victor Geo. He was nasty when Tactor had him. He was running with 5 legs in the paddock at Meadowlands in the Peter Houghton and the Hambo. So I hope this one here is more quiet than the sire. That's the only question mark I have with him being in the detention on Yonkers, that some of the colts can act up. If not, 12-1 morning line. Yeah, we're never going to get 12-1. Maybe we can get 5-2, 3-1. It's going to be close in this race. 12-1. For me, he is the favorite. He can leave. He can open up. He is a top horse. I don't think you have any problem with the Yonkers turn. And Daniel Weierstein as a driver, he's very aggressive. He's going to be just fine against the boys here. It's nothing I'm worried about. Powo, he is just invited because they need the Norwegian flag, like me. I'm from Norway.
They should have invited you.
Yeah, they should. And the sire won. It's the same connection who won with Papagayo. Same trainer, same owner group. He struggled home on the 5A track. I would be shocked. He's 50-1. He's more 99-1. He's a good horse, but not on a 5A track. And he's just there. Aetos Kronos, people is maybe jumping off him since he only got 6th up at the Woodbine. But remember that they went 49. Dexter put him in the wrong position, need to go first up, try to go first up in a 49 mile, and he only got tired the last 116. Aetos will not have any issue with the half. He trained at Melander Farm, and this horse here, not many people is giving Aetos the credit he needs to get. He's 9-year-old. He made 1.5 million. He's like the Scandinavian almost foiled again home, because he's been through everything. He won races in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Italy and France and US, I think, and Canada. So he is like
longer distances.
Yeah, and he's just he is just international. He's been racing in the Prix d'Amérique 3,000 2 miles. So this horse here is just a Hall of Famer in my opinion. Aetos. Does he gonna win? I don't think so. He needs a trip, I think. But he's going to leave. And I think Dexter's maybe going to be a little aggressive with it. And Double Deceiver is, for me, maybe the second pick in this race. We remember when Carl Lipinski had him. If you have seen picture of Double Deceiver now as a 6-year-old when he was at Pinsky, it's two different horses. I remember him as a gelded Cantab Hall gelding that looked like a mouse, like a tiny mouse when Carter had him. When now Daniel coming over with him, he's 6 years old. He's been training on the deep sand. Right now he looked like a bodybuilder. So I don't think he will struggle on the turns. I'm more concerned about Kielstrom. Is maybe one of the best driver in the world, but when he come to the US, he never had any success driving at the Meadowlands in the big races.
Almost won the Hambo though when he drove Temporal.
But I've seen him struggle so much with the tactic, and now going into it. It's not like he's driving too much on the half home in Sweden. Post 6, the horse can leave. He's a good driver, but tactical wise, when it comes to the US, little question mark. Soton course. This is maybe, I don't going to say like who can fuck up my scenario in this way when I say a bad word, because you have Jason Bartlett in the race bike from post 7. It is his playground. What is he going to do? Is he going to take him, like back him up from the gate? You never know with Jason Bartlett, and I don't know what he's going to do. So he is the X factor. Diva Ek is a top mare that if she come to the US like they did with Dial Skirt, Nelson Bright Eagle, and put her in training with Aki Swanstead and give her like a winter and like that, she will be like that caliber horse. But now post 8, she gonna fly around the turns. She is on the left line, so she is more on running out on the stretch that she struggle on the turn. So, but post 8 was the worst for her. If she had post 1 to 4, she will definitely be a player. Now we know Gucciadoro, it's a cowboy. He is almost little like Anthony McDonald driving, like very like you never know what you're gonna get. So, but he is a top horseman. But from post 8, I don't know how I'm gonna put him in. Periculum, the horse who never gonna get respect enough in this country. We try to beat him. Coming back as a 6-year-old. That's like when he went to Sweden as a 4 to Redén, I was gonna bang him gonna go all in on him every time he raced in Sweden. He raced like shit. He struggled on every turn in Sweden. Coming back here to Melander, I'm sure that horse there have very much EPM. That's why he struggled in Sweden. Coming back here, all the family there struggle with EPM and struggle with their gait. This year, when he getting older and older, he getting better and better. He don't struggle so much with this right hind that he did before. So last year, remember when I was so hard, I go against him on every ticket on Yonkers, but then he managed to come in there, and I think he was second. Yeah. He added distance is just a plus for Periculum, and we know with the money man, every time we try to beat him, he always get a helmet. He need a helmet, and he can kick in the last quarter. So Periculum definitely is going to be up there, but 5-2 morning line. Yeah, then we talk about it again. We try to beat him when he's the favorite in the morning line, but we don't know how the money is when he goes in the pick 5 pool we are talking about. So he's definitely going to be on my ticket, but Geocache is my favorite. Then we have Hunek. Hunek was the horse I said if he had post 1 to 4, he will definitely be one horse that I think can win this race. But from post 10, he's been 8 years old. He don't like to pass too many horses. He have the gait like an American horse, so good gated. But from post 10, okay, he have the helmet to Geocache, or maybe he gonna have the helmet to Geocache. I've struggled to see he gonna come from that post, need to go 2 and 3 wide around turn and go past horses. So no, thank you. For me, Geocache, the only question mark I have, that's why as a gambler, I hope to have interview from the paddock at Yonkers, so we know how he have been in detention, because that's the only information I want to have on Geocache. I want to see his warm up, and I want to listen to Daniel Wyersten how he have been in detention, because if he have act up in detention, then because I know how his sire was, he was nasty.
Well, in years past, I feel bad I don't remember her name, but they always have that French interviewer.
Christine.
Christine. She is Norwegian.
Oh,
But
I thought she was French.
Nah, she lives in France, and she speaks
Mhm.
many different language.
Yeah, well, I first saw her because she used to also come over for the Hambo for many years, and I don't know that she's really come as much anymore. But that is an aside. Of all the things that you talked through, Thomas, I want to pinpoint a specific dynamic that we haven't really discussed too much, which is that Lexus Cody, we kind of know what his game is from the pylon post, especially with the slanted gate. Yannick is going to have to kind of hustle him out of there. We know that Dexter with Eidos Kronos probably only has one way to go here. Are we considering that there could be a pretty brutal pace setup inside of this race, just given where the strongest horses need to land here? This is open to anybody on the panel.
Yeah, it's Yannick is smart enough to know. Yannick is like, he's watched so many races on Sweden, so he knows that he need to be. All the Scandinavian drivers, they have a stopwatch with them when they drive. Like, I tried to give a stopwatch to Dexter, he just looked at me. So Yannick would be okay on a mile and a quarter. I'm more concerned about Dexter. Like, if he come up to the half and 56 or something like that on Yonkers, he could. I wouldn't be shocked if Dexter does it. And then if you come up to 56 and a half, and you have like, it's not a mile. So that's like the same thing with Jason Bartlett.
Well, Southland Court, even when Southland Coors was in the Hambo, granted, James McDonald was driving, so you have much different temperament at play. But on the biggest stage, horse took back to last, really didn't do anything. And he's never really had that much gate speed to begin with as a grinding type. So I don't know from my vantage, but he's going to be as much of an X factor as you think.
And the last couple of international we've seen, there is always the scenario we don't talk about, who is going to make a break.
Mm-hmm. And it could be Lexus Cody because, again, I mean, Mike, it's a slanted gate. We know that he's got to go forward, even if it's to end up in a first-up position, because Gingras has not been afraid to put Lexus Cody in the death seat there. But in some ways, the pylon post, as much as it gets him to where he needs to go, it also could force him to make a blunder. And so you have to wonder how that's going to impact this race.
And he's shown the tendency to break on the smaller tracks, and that has been known in his history. He's going extremely well right now, but his game is speed. And from the rail, it's Yannick. It's blast off time, and we'll see what happens. I do think, like Thomas said, some of these other guys could be flying early, especially with Gucciadoro on the outside post. Double Deceiver in the mix. We'll see what Dexter does. So it could get quick early. And if it does, I think that if Lexus Cody gets pressured, there's a bigger chance that he might make a break in this race. And then who knows what happens. And then it becomes a total crapshoot. I'm with Thomas. I think the 3 Geocache, I think Double Deceiver would both, I think you have to have them on tickets. I don't know what kind of trip Honek gets. I mean, from that second tier, as Allaire pushing early with that one, trying to get the front, is that a trip that could happen? Does that heat the pace up even more? Because he's going to be outside early. He has no choice but to go forward. I don't think that they're going to be sitting. I mean, they're going for $1 million, and this horse has made $3 million. So why not? Why not put the horse in play? I think that's the worst post this horse could have drawn, honestly. Periculum's going to pull back and wait. Hopefully it gets crazy, and he's going to make his typical rally. But it's a pretty wide open race. I do think that if you like Lexus Cody, I would single Lexus Cody. I think that if you like him, you live and die with him. Think that he's going to get that front end trip and dominate the race and just continue with these hugely fast miles. If you don't like him, throw him completely out and spread out. Use the 3, use the 6. You could use Dexter a little bit, have some Periculum. And I would even throw the 10 in a little bit on some tickets.
I don't know. He's behind Gammon, Yaba, and Geocache. He's not going to have any chance to get to where he needs to go.
But he's, you know what, though? He's a class horse. And you don't know. If the one makes a break, it turns the race on its head.
I mean, Periculum has first dibs at that lane versus Honek. And I feel like the trip is much more precarious. If Honek had the 9, and Periculum had the 10, I could see the argument. I don't know that I see the argument, especially with the 6-1 morning line. I was also trying to pull up John Rallis, statistician for the show at this point, because he has access to the databases.
We appreciate him.
One time Lexus Cody has raced at Yonkers and
they won.
stayed flat.
He won on 55.
Every other
this
time
last week.
that he's well, your name is not John Rallis, and you didn't send me the accompanying helpful data picture that I'm not going to zoom in on, but you just have to trust is valid.
Actually, I forget who I credited last week, but I stole that from somebody else too. I didn't even come up with that myself.
Well, I kind of like this whole dynamic you have going, Ed. I don't really care who you like inside this race. Steal someone else's picks. Give us someone else's insight here on this race.
What I was going to say was I just realized I never even thought about it until Thomas said it. Like, you know, and I'm serious about this. Like the perception of Odin Kielstrom here versus overseas. Like, I think everybody here knows how good of a driver he is overseas, but it is kind of true. You know, we've never really gotten to see his true driving talent, you know, in full display here in the States. And Ray, I mean, maybe you need to watch more Scandinavian racing. All you know of him is you bet $50 on him driving Unicorn Blue Chip, thinking he was the savior for Unicorn Blue Chip in that kindergarten race in the 20 weekend a few years ago, and it didn't work out.
He gets more respect over there, though. He does. I mean, you know, the top guy gets more respect over there. He doesn't get that here.
No.
Look, I think Mike hit the nail on the head when it comes to Lexus Cody. You either got to use the horse and probably single the horse because, you know, he said he'd love to be thrown out.
I'm going to interrupt. I think he is the worst single you could possibly come up with, but keep going, Ed.
Oh, I agree, but some people, I'll get my point. Rich Matei, Morning Line odds maker for this race, consulted me on some thoughts on this, and it's kind of funny. I think we have differing opinions. You know, we'll see how it works out. I think Lexus Cody might very well be favored in this race. Yeah, Geocache I would have had lower. Honek, I probably would have had higher, only from that draw. And to be fair, partially my own fault that I think I told him I like Honek, but I believe I did say the words with a good draw. Post 10 obviously is not the draw for him. Those Chronos will take money. We know that. Gochadoro, by the way, that's 2 post 8s in a row. Last year had post 8 as well with I forget which horse he brought last year, but yeah, that's 2 straight. And that horse also broke last year, so worth watching. But no, I think Mike's correct in the sense that if you like Lexus Cody in a race where he could potentially be favored, I think you either got to single him or throw him out. For me, throw him out. I don't like the horse.
That's it. He's the single throw out, not the single use.
Throw him off on this track, you just toss him out.
One or the other.
Double Deceiver is an include. Curriculum is an include. Geocache, the other include for me. And if we're going to get really greedy and try to spend $48 here, we'll take Those Chronos. I mean, look, I think generally speaking, and I think this is fair to say, last year might have been the rare exception. You know, you probably proved me wrong. Yeah, get John Roush on stats to prove me wrong on this. But 4 to 5 last year on Jiggy Jog. Beyond that, I mean, it's not usually really a chalky-ish kind of race, right? I mean,
when Tomoko won.
Well, the year before, I'm thinking 2 years ago, maybe Vivid Wise Oz was the favorite, but it was like a 3-1 favorite. I mean, it was a short price. You definitely got 25-1 of Cocksteel a couple of years ago. I mean, you know, so things happen in this race. And like I said, I think the things that happen this year is Lexus Cody is not going to win this race. I really think he's not. I toss him, but again, I still think he could go. But again, with all that said, I still think he can take serious money, and again, maybe even favorites money. I think it's possible. Mike, do you think he's the favorite?
Yeah, I think he's a favorite. I do.
I think it's the draw that allows him to be the favorite. If Double Deceiver drew better, he might be the favorite. If Those Chronos drew better, maybe even that horse is the favorite. Curriculum with a good draw, maybe he's the favorite. Honak with a perfect draw, maybe could have contended for it. But this draw, this setup, I think it makes Lexus Cody the favorite.
I also got to issue a correction. I was thinking of Twister By, not Tomoko. Tomoko didn't win, but he did come over for the International Trot one year. Twister By, I think, was favored when he won.
That race Twister B did. Going back and look at that race. It was insane.
And that was in 2017, winning for Italy.
Insane.
I'm disappointed, though.
Ray was still in high school and possibly more mature than he is now.
I want to say I'm disappointed in the Wikipedia editors who have done well in putting International Trot history on Wikipedia. You're hard pressed to find actual harness racing information on Wikipedia, but they don't have the odds of the horses. At least the thoroughbred Wikipedia editors put the odds of the horses. These guys don't think people are betting on this stuff.
Hey, why don't you go edit it? Why don't you become an editor and go change it?
What about me looks like I'm spending my days editing Wikipedia? Not to say it's not a noble pursuit. They're informing the world. And probably be more useful than whatever you do. By the way, I meant to say at the beginning, my computer sitting in this car is at 60%, and I don't own a charger. I'm living completely out of this car. I have no money to my name left, Ray. So you got 60% charge to communicate with me forevermore via this computer. That's honestly all that I need. But very quickly, let's go around the panel here. If you had to pick one horse to win the $1 million MGM Yonkers International Trot. Starting with you, Ed, who would that horse be?
Double Deceiver.
Okay, short and sweet. Mike, how about you?
Yeah, I'll go Double Deceiver also. I think it's going to be the right price, and it might be Killstrom's, finally his time.
Thomas, what about you?
Garmin Yaba. Nah, kidding. Geocache. Yeah, Geocache.
I was going to say, if you have that name and then you say, I'm going to play freaking...
Geocache.
Geocache is my direction, too, especially at the 12-1 morning line. I feel like he's probably going to get ignored inside of those pools. So all the other familiar faces are going to take more play. And I think based off his last race, he can probably come from off the speed if there is too much speed made by Lexus Cody and Eidos Kronos. Geocache for me. I do use Double Deceiver on some multis, but that's the International Trot. Let's continue.
I'd like to change my pick to Lexus Cody, because when that horse wins, we're all going to sound stupid. So just clip those 3 seconds when I said Lexus Cody is going to win the International Trot, and we'll at least sound okay when he shocks us all and wins.
I don't care. Let's talk about race 7. Third leg of the pick 5, $20,000 guaranteed dollar minimum. This is the grade 2, $200,000 Bob McCuna Invitational Trot. My apologies to Bob et al. If that is not how your name is pronounced, but do know I understand.
You're on the right track.
I do understand your strife. I have been named Cotolo, Catola. No one pronounces my name right, and it's half vowels. Nonetheless, 10 horses inside of this grade 2 race, the 9 and 10, as indicated by the line I spent 5 minutes installing on the Photoshop template. They start in the second tier. Ed, since this is all so funny to you and your giggles and gags and just having yourself such a Christmas time there in that rest stop area, where are you going inside of this Bob McCuna Invitational Trot?
I guess it's the former Yonkers employee. Bob McCuna, the longtime race secretary at Yonkers, retired a few years ago. Gets the race named after him for this one. Previous race we didn't mention, by the way, is called the Aria Pace. The Aria is a property owned by MGM. I don't actually know how we got there. Actually, we do that.
I didn't mention that. That's the race's name. Does anyone pay attention to this show?
Actually,
I don't. But
I was gonna say I don't know why we picked the Aria out, but I guess we do this year round, right? The Borgata in Atlantic City, Park MGM. I own that Yonkers Trot card, the Park MGM, and the New York, whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah. So in the Trot, Antignoni, the connections there wanted to go to the lead lap with this horse. They thought the talent was there. The Swedish bred that obviously has been rattling off some wins this year. I'm not quite sure he's that talented, but post 8, he's really got his work cut out for him here. But I still think he can win. I think he's one to include in this race. And the other one I'm going to use is the one Sir Pinocchio, who's had success on this track before. Yonkers Trot winner from last year. Draws well inside. Again, Jason Bartlett, obviously the top local guy here at the track. And between those two, those really are the two for me. Look, I think, the morning line kind of shows it, which I assume Rich probably made this morning line as well. I'm assuming Rich made the morning line for the big 3 races, and the rest was a computer morning line. Security protected up your day. Again, there's only so many horses that are going to take money in here, and I think you got to take a stand somewhere. Those two, I'm willing to toss out of here. And again, I think those are really the 4 that are going to take a lot of money in this spot, and I'll take 2 of them and hopefully turn the page and move on. Like I said, we went deep in the race before, and hopefully it'll give us a couple of spot horses to go with later on by going a little skinnier here and hopefully getting through without too much damage.
Yeah, Matei's morning line is right, at least in the picture. You're going to have heavy concentration on probably the 1, 2, 3, and 8, and then everyone else is probably going to get left in the ether. What I'm trying to remember, Mike, you were enthusiastic about Sir Pinocchio landing in this spot, even though he's going the added distance. But what I'm curious is, are you only using him, or do you still have some others in your purview inside of this race?
Well, he'd be a heavy A on every ticket. I do think that this is where I want to shrink down in this race. So this is I think the most likely winner on the card, drawn in this spot. He loves this racetrack. He's going to be up close again. He's either going to be on the front or in the pocket, one or the other. And I think that either way, he wins this race. I think the main competition is drawn poorly. And he's better than these horses. And they're going for a big pot here. I like the 2 straight invitational wins. I think he's just the most likely winner. So this is the horse that you want to, I think, single in this dollar pick 5. You got to shrink down somewhere. And they have to have some sort of strong opinion. I'm spreading those first 2 legs. I want Sir Pinocchio in this spot. The only horse that I could see maybe is Up Your Dale. You get Dexter now. You get the smaller track. You get sort of an inside post. He needs things to go his way to win, but he's capable. I mean, he's made $1 million. If he's going to win, this is the kind of races that he finds a way to win, but I'd be really heavy one. And if he loses, then I'm not going to win.
I couldn't tell because as you were spreading your love for Sir Pinocchio, I looked down at Thomas and he's just giving this perplexed look. I don't know about that.
That was more that Up Your Dale or like 72.
I'm curious about that though, because I feel like Up Your Dale also fits this race pretty well, and he's probably going to be higher than that.
It's
price,
maybe one of the horses I lost most money on the last 2 years. Every time you think you're going to do something good, he don't want to work. He is a Warner, and many of the Warner colts, they don't want to work more than 80%. Up Your Dale is a horse like that, and I don't think half is a perfect track for him. I think I like him more on a little bigger track. I like the
first time Svensen isn't driving him.
Yeah, that's maybe that would maybe wake him up, because I think he's not. I think he will wake up with another driver. I think he's been a little sour on Aki also. Like he always wait very long before he pull the plugs on him and try to like tease him to go first. But I don't think the track is super perfect for him gate wise. Security protected, I think raced best when he raced with no shoes. I don't think they're going to do that on Yonkers, or at least we don't going to get that information, so we don't know. Maybe he was on his A game in July. I don't think he have been okay. He was decent out in Scioto last time. I think he was sneaky good when he come up in Cashman. After that, I think he got a little tired with shipping. Woodbine, Scioto. He's been in Kentucky back now, post 2, 3-1 morning line. Best with no shoes. I like the horse. He go good on Melander tracks. I think the half will be okay. Sir Pinocchio is the horse, but he won 2 cheap races. I was worried for him after the Cashman because he looked like he broke down. I'm not sure if the added distance is plus factor for Sir Pinocchio, because go in and look on all races he does, especially on the other tracks than Yonkers, that he is losing his gait always the last 116 or a little longer on the stretches. So I'm a little worried about that. The horse I have little connection to since I bought him in Sweden, Antonioni, has been super impressive, and they want to go out in the international because he have the gait, he have the technique, and he have the speed. No, they didn't get an invitation. They would maybe do that if they didn't add him to this race. Then he would be in instead of Southwind, the Southwind horse. But no, they put him in this race. Yannick was very optimistic. Then he got post 8. I think the added distance, he is used to that home in Sweden, but I think he need to drive him from a helmet. If he can drive from a helmet, he have post 8. So I hope they're going to do it. He is so fast, but he definitely going to be a favorite in this race in the pool, I think. So do you want to bet Antonioni from post 8 against Grand Circuit caliber older horses? Like when I say older, they are like 4, but they've been racing against the top horses. I don't know if I want to do it. I be shocked if Antonioni just blow around them the last 1/8 of a mile. No, because he is so quick when he can come from a helmet. But I want to also try to beat him when he's going to be the favorite. So I agree a little with Mike, but I still don't trust Sir Pinocchio with added distance when he is losing his gait. So, and then I don't believe too much in security protected with they don't race when I don't know if they're going to race with no shoes. Up Your Dale I don't like. So who do I like? It's like if Ghostly Casper, when it comes like to the magic guy Jared Baco, like he has been flying down here on Yonkers for a Baco, like post 10. Is that the worst post Ghostly Casper can have when there's the added distance? We know it may be going to be speed up front. Is Ghostly Casper, is he going to be like 2%, 1 to 2% in the pick 5? Yeah, maybe it's a value shot that, because there is question mark on some of the favorites there, and we know also Resolve to Win can kick in when he has been racing decent. It's maybe too far long shot, but I don't trust too much of the favorite there. I think Antonioni is maybe the best horse on a half, but he post 8, and I don't trust Sir Pinocchio. So I'm gonna go deep in this race.
And looking back when he won the John Brennan Trotting Series, you had mentioned that this is a different ball game because you have Grand Circuit horses, Sir Pinocchio, Security Protected. Just John Brennan, that attracted more kind of like top condition horses instead of Grand Circuit type, who he was able to trounce going 1.25 miles. So at the very least, like we don't really have a question of whether or not he's going to make the distance. But you're saying?
We know it when we saw him in the John Brennan series, like, and when he come back now in an invitation and won on 154 and one after the layup, like he got a little. They gave him a time off because he was racing directly from the Sweden in February to see how good he was. So they gave him a break in the summer and bring him back. No, Yannick said he was 2 fingers now. Compare, he was a little crazy and hot in the beginning when he come to the US. And if we just look on the time, he beats, like, nobody have done the Yonkers 54 and 1 and 53 and 4. I think he went also one time. I never seen a trotter do it so easy that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing when he went to George Brennan's area, I think he went 220,
224 and 3.
224 and 3. And just go back and look when they won the International. There's not many horses who has been going 224 and 3.
Well, and he won the Brennan from post 7, which
is
why
224, and he did that on the wraps.
And that's why I was initially kind of in like the Sir Pinocchio ballpark because I thought the outside draw, he's not going to get the trip, but I'm slowly kind of orientating where maybe he's the A and then I have a couple of Bs. Sir Pinocchio, I don't know that I agree with you though, Thomas, that he loses his gait because if
go in and look on all his races at Netherlands like that. So
Thomas, I know you sit behind horses, but I watch horses.
He is almost pacing every time because he gets crooked. That's why he looked not good at every race when he raced on the last 1/16 of a mile, and that's why I also think I was a little afraid that he broke down when he was almost lame coming back.
But correct me if I'm wrong. In the races where those are happening, he's going like 26, 54. He's going fractions that I feel like a horse would reasonably tire, and we've never known Sir Pinocchio as being like a super good horse.
I understand tire, but if you go in and see, he look not just tired. He looks sore and almost like he's almost switching to pace because he gets so tired or losing his gait. It's not like if you see a horse get tired, if you take up your day when he's getting tired, he's not pacing or look rough gait wise. But Sir Pinocchio, when he is getting tired or losing his gait, he look not good.
Maybe we can attribute it to him being like one of the few Mets Halls that have had any opportunity to break through in the Grand Circuit. But otherwise, I think Antonioni for me is now an A. I'm glad you mentioned Ghostly Casper because as a 3-year-old, I always felt that if they had longer distance races, this horse would actually do something good. Like he was good as a 3-year-old, but he was always coming way too late. And the second tier draw doesn't really deter me. I think at 20-1, he's a perfectly fine B inside of this race. And I'd honestly use probably Sir Pinocchio as a B here too. I'm dissuaded now on Up Your Deo. I don't really know that he's really going to provide the value that I imagined inside of that race. Let's quickly go through.
Do you care with Edison thanks or no? Do you care with
not really, unless you can think of something very quickly, Edison.
Oh, don't worry, Mike. If you recall correctly, if we all remember after the 30-minute race speech, I started this race.
Yeah, see, this whole show is I'm the only one paying attention.
But I should probably say again, Antonioni and Sir Pinocchio, my 2 uses, because it's been so long, people probably have forgotten.
Oh my God, let's talk about these last 2 races of the Pick 5. I might as well just be talking to myself because I'm the only one keeping track. Race 8, $32,000 purse for a non-winners of $18,000 event. I could only categorize this race at first look as the equivalent of Coughing Baby versus Hydrogen Bomb. Delayed Hanover from post 4 really does stand out. I don't know that Sister Mary Maud is a 3-1 choice, but Mike, I mean, give us some orientation here because it does seem like some of these horses really stand out compared to the others.
I don't like Delayed Hanover. He's over the year. So what makes him 5-2 in this race? I know he raced well last time, but there's other horses that can win this race. I mean, this is a race that I think that you can maybe get a price in. What's wrong with over and back from the second tier for Travis Alexander? Has faced Ghostly Casper, so Pinocchio the last couple starts. And now you're going to get a price. You get a drop. This horse was claimed for 60,000 three back. So that's a horse that I think that you need to use in this race. He's a definite use for me. And here I could see, maybe the 7 Excalibur B. I mean, Mark McDonald on this horse that's improving steps up a little bit, but speedy. I do think that he can blast off from the 7 hole. He's going to provide value in this race. The 1 could trip out. I don't mind that one. At least that one's going forward. Late was in the race with the 7 last time. So if you like the 7, you probably should like the 1, especially given that post there. I'd be trying to beat the late Hanover. He might run me over, but give me a couple prices. I'd use the 10, the 7, and the 1.
I want to try and beat him too, but Thomas, I mean, tell me if you had the same impression looking at this race, just knowing it's a mile and a quarter. You do. I had the thought of what if these horses can get that distance?
It's this race here. I don't like many in this race, and I don't like the late Hanover. I know I love the horse when Aki had him, and they've been doing a good job, McDermott, around him. But he had a major surgery for, I think was it around May there? He got needed to do a colic. He got a colic surgery, so they open up the stomach. And I don't bet horses like that after like. Nah, but it's like a major surgery. Okay, he's coming back.
Yeah, it is.
Qualifying good, and then he went second, got beaten. I like the horse, but it's not like 5-2 added distance. Do I like Systematic Mode? Not to win. Do I like?
It's like every other option is a long shot.
Supposedly. Yeah. Do I like Excalibur BB? Yeah, I love them as a 3-year-old, and loved them. Looked like a superstar when Andrew McCarthy was driving him for Cancelleri. Then he didn't race last year and coming back okay. Mark McDonald on this on Yonkers, when he know he have a decent horse, he gonna gun out from there. Definitely a player in this race. If Austral Hanover had a better post with Per Engblom and Jimmy Marone Jr., that I think is very underrated as a driver, it's coming in against decent group of horses. Remember, he was second behind Dire Straits in the no winners of 32,000. Before that, he was racing in Invitation against good horses. He was fourth after Sir Pinocchio. I think I'm gonna take a lock on this racer and maybe close it on 7-8 Excalibur B and Austral Hanover, because I think Mark McDonald gonna be aggressive, be up front. That horse don't like to work all the time. Excalibur B is so beautiful, but sometimes if he's not brave, then, but that's the good thing with Mark McDonald. If he feel this horse is brave, he's just gonna open up and maybe be like open up with a length or 2. That's maybe the melody for this horse. If he can feel brave and coming into the last turn and don't have horses close to him, I think he wins this race. But if he sees a horse eye to eye going into the last turn, he throw in the towel. I was almost thinking he had Warner as a sire since he does that, Excalibur B. So, but Austral Hanover, I'm gonna stay on 7-8 to take a shot in this race and lock this race on 2 horses.
Yeah, I was just kind of questionable of how Excalibur B will fare going the mile and a quarter. But Hatter, how about you in this race?
Ray, are you ready for the bravest single of my young life?
I mean, Lexus Cody would have been, but I guess this is a next better step.
Thomas mentioned the question marks with the late Hanover. He's 0 for 6 this year. That's no good. Give me Sister Mary Maud. Give me 0 for 10 this year. Colin Kelly, first time on, draws inside, draws the rail, mile and a quarter. So many question marks around this race. Look, he draws well inside. He got beaten by Excalibur B last time out, who beat him to the punch by getting to the lead. This time, I think Sister Mary Maud has a chance to be aggressive there from the inside. This was a horse who's had success on Yonkers in the past, I believe, through some New York Sire Stakes competitions. Look, I mean, the horse has shown plenty of talent in the past. 0 for 10 this year is not spectacular, but I think this is finally the spot where we get to the winner's circle. Give me the single of Sister Mary Maud, Ray, and I think it's a better price than 3-1, right? Or at least, well, I don't know. I guess
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Probably is the second choice by default, but it feels like a race where you deserve more than that for getting this horse home. But yeah, single Sister Mary Maud.
Yeah, every horse I'm landing on here is by default. I'm making begrudging bets on Excalibur B, and the only horse that at least is probably going to offer a price that I think should be able to handle the conditions is Street Gossip. gets the second tier, at least fits the class somewhat, is gaining ground inside of his races, gets to follow a probable chalk off the wings of the gate, and maybe just get into a good spot for Siegelman, and hopefully the trip can just materialize that way. Because again, I feel like once they pass the mile pole, which is the 3/4 pole in this instance, every horse is just going to get so confused, and it's going to turn into Thunderdome in the last turn and in the stretch. So that's at least the argument I can see about trying to go against a horse like Delayed Hanover, because he's going to be a short price. I mean, he fits class-wise. Apparently, his tummy was hurting, and Thomas does not like betting horses like that, which is all in your right, Thomas.
Yeah, but it's more like it has been a major surgery. He was like,
it is, yeah.
I'm
underplaying it. Mm-hmm.
So and I lost.
I didn't even know about it.
Nah, but if you follow Mary McDermott on social media, you should know about it.
Well, I know of other things happening, as in this horse is with John McDermott now, but this is not conjecture time. It's time to go to the last leg of this $20,000 guaranteed pick 5 from the International Trot card. It's race number 9, another conditioned trotting event. Now there's a $10,000 the purse, again going 1.25 miles with the 9 and 10 in the second tier. Another race where I do wonder how many of these horses are going to be straggling after the mile pole. But Ed, we'll start with you. How are you going to cap your pick 5 ticket?
Yeah. Okay. So if we're brave enough to single in the last, that rewards us by being able to go deeper here in a race that's very tricky. Mazeppa, is that what we're going with? Mazeppa?
Mazeppa. Yeah, that's Mazeppa. Probably one of the easier pronunciations that you could have.
You don't know how to pronounce Mikuna, so
Well, it's more so when you have two vowels that follow one another. You can have multiple interpretations. This isn't about me. Who do you like?
Two vowels following each other in this horse's name. Mazeppa.
There are no consecutive vowels in the name Mazeppa.
Yeah, I thought
I'm doubtful you even have a horse you like here.
Yeah, I thought Z was a vowel for a minute, Ray. Let me have my moment, please. Thank you. Petition to make Z a vowel.
Didn't overruled. Pick a horse.
Mazeppa.
Okay, that's it? You're just going to sing it?
Look. Good North American debut. Finishes third in the end. 2 goes to Casper, by the way. We've obviously mentioned in the race that he's going to be in earlier on this card. Gets a significant drop in class. Post 7, maybe not great, but looked to show plenty of speed in the qualifier and the North American debut. I think he's the one to beat, but I think he is beatable. Again, a race where nobody I really love, but how about the 3, Airman's Jackpot? Second last time out, 2, wheels a-blazing, so toss them both in. They went 1-2 in similar spots. They both draw well. If you wanted, I think at this point I'm already up there in price raise, so I don't think I'm allowed to, but if you wanted to spend, I think we're going to be over 100 at that point. But Cactus of the Clouds, I would just like to say, 5 wins earlier this year, was pretty good there through the one of the series earlier this year at Yonkers. Had some success, but kind of tougher times now. But again, it's kind of a field of tougher times. If you get outside Mazeppa, I think Mazeppa is the clear one to knock off, right? Based on, what you've seen from that horse on debut, assuming he just kind of keeps rolling here like a lot of these down under horses do, right? Second time out, you kind of expect him to get the win. But if not that one, this race, if he was out of this race, be wide open.
Mike, I couldn't help, though, looking at this race and seeing, after, years where Jason Bartlett was only at Yonkers, and then when everyone else left town, he would go into the Meadowlands. And now all of a sudden, when Per Engblom's barn has really gathered steam since he's gone off on his own from Jimmy Takter, Bartlett has been he goes to the Meadowlands to drive for Engblom, takes off Yonkers assignments and stuff to drive for Engblom, goes to Kentucky for Engblom. And then after all the stakes races are done, Engblom has these horses, and Jason goes, I'm going to take off. Let Tyler Buter drive Mazeppa. I don't know how I feel about that choice. Does that give you any indication of whether that's a favorite to have questions about in this spot?
I think there's a lot of questions. This one's going to be waiver bet in this spot. And 7 post. I got the front last time from the rail, but this isn't the rail. This is the 7 post here. This horse walked home in that August 28th race. Why do you want to take him to finish out this pick, especially at this short price that everybody's $1 minimum? There are going to be a lot of tickets flying through the 7 here just by default. So I think you want to take others. I don't mind the 1. I think Wheels Ablazing is a nice step up here. This is a reasonable spot off a blowout win. I think a similar move could be I think effective. He won 11 races last year, so he's a definite use for me. And then I think the 5 PC Freewheeling's another horse that you can use here. It's Jordan Stratton for his brother. I do think raced okay at Pocono last time and has some wins over this racetrack. Now, he needs to be a little bit better than he has been the past couple starts, but you're going to get a price here. I like the connections. I think this horse can get a forward trip. And he's just interesting to me at 8-1 morning line. I'm going to try to fade the 7 here. If he wins, fine. I mean, he might be better here, but you mentioned a lot of things that I do think are a little questionable on this horse. I mean, he's only made 71,000. This is a tough spot here against some of these horses. So give me the 1 and the 5 to finish out.
All right, Ray, hold my hand. We're going to get there together with this. Jason Bartlett takes off this horse. What horse is he driving in this race instead?
He's taking off altogether, and he's not driving until the 12th.
Then where's he going to?
Maybe he has a wedding to go to or something.
That's what I'm wondering.
What's going on up north on the same day? We did this last year. How about the Metro Pace eliminations? Maybe Perenglum has horses in Canada. He's driving for Canada.
Yeah.
He's not on a plane to go to Canada, Ray. It's still her.
See, I got thrown off because I've been throwing shade this show. When you Google a driver on the USTA, it's not connected to the Standardbred Canada database. So when I see that Bartlett has no other drives, I don't remember that he's driving Fragment.
Honestly, I only would think about it. I only thought I'd even look on Standardbred Canada and the Woodbine card because last year, again, same deal. These drivers are flying out of there as fast as possible after the International to get out.
Right. No, I should remember that too because I gotta cover those races that night. But Thomas, how about for you then in the payoff leg of the pick 5?
I do it very easy. I think this is it's been a very same as Mike, but this time I'm disagree with Mike. I think normally we disagree maybe a little more when we try to get value, but when I see a horse like Mazeppa, I saw her qualify in 53-1 for Smeds, coming out with Smeds, a race Ghostly Casper won with Smeds driving. Changing barn to Per Engblom, I think that's little the owner. I think it is Ernie Martinez owns this horse. It looks like that on the paper when I see the farm name. And he is like, he changed more than I changed socks, trainer and driver. So the horse goes to Engblom and she is dropping in class, this gelding. And okay, totally earning 71,000 in 63 races. That's down under in New Zealand. They don't race for money in New Zealand. So this horse here is maybe a horse that fits a much different class. And when you see the races down under, she's been racing so long distance over there, almost 2 miles distance down there. I think this is a penalty kick or like a field goal when Per bring her back now after 2 weeks. Tyler Buter is driving 95. Okay, he walked home 29-3 last time. Maybe a little question mark on that, but I don't see any horsing like when was bet to one of the favorite against Ghostly Casper, and you're gonna like try to get wheel and blessing and PC Freewheeling to beat this horse. It's like
Thomas, though, how much when you talk about how much money's in pick 5s, how much what would be the percentage on this horse in this pick 5? It's got to be over 60.
Yeah, but I don't know how the American, if it is like, if you take the regular handicappers in the US, they have never a single. Like when I see the Madeline show and David Little is picking her pick 5, he never have a single. So they are 2 deep, 3 deep, 2 deep, 3 deep, 2 deep. So like if we take Captain Albano, he's gonna be a 60% in my opinion. I don't know how the American batter, since it's the last leg, if they don't like the single in the last leg, they like to be deep in the last leg. But if I can get Mazeppa lower than 45% in the pick 5, I go all in on him because I don't like any of the other horses. I think Engblom coming to Yonkers with this horses has been racing his 3rd time in the US. We know he can go the turns on Yonkers. He's gonna get a good driver in Tyler Buter compared to, like, I'm gonna say Tyler Buter is so much better than Smeds, but at least he's gonna get speed. So I don't like any of the other horses. That's my problem in this race, and I always have a single when I bet the pick 4. So Mazeppa is maybe the horse I like most to bet on because I think he dropped class. I don't like any of the other horses, and I like the connections.
And this is an hours of 10,000 that has a feel more of like a non-winners of 6. If you look at some of the horses in this race, especially like Wheels of Blazin came out of that race where he won. PC Freewheeling, that tends to be the class area where he thrives. Mike, I'm astounded that adding a quarter of a mile, you want the horse that always quits in the last quarter of a mile. But, you know, at the 8-1 morning line, maybe there's arguments. Thomas was saying that Americans...
There's no question about it.
He's not going to. But Thomas was saying that American bettors tend to not single. I can only offer a single inside of this race, and it's not Mazeppa. I think Airman's Jackpot is the only horse that like really has any type of intrigue.
Chance. Good luck with that.
Pat LaChance.
Yeah, that's like you can go to the church and give it the donation. Like you like it's like if you're gonna go to the window, Ray, and bet your own money on a single on Pat LaChance. It's the nicest guy in the business. You want to sit and wait after the first 4 leg, and you think you're gonna get this pick 5 when you see he don't gonna pull the right line.
That man, in every race that's going a mile, he's always a little bit too late. But he has an extra quarter of a mile this time.
No, but the only thing Pat LaChance is thinking about is making money with those horses here and stay in the same class every week. He don't want second place finishes. He is like Ray. He is like Ray Baines. You remember Ray Baines on Freehold? He got suspended because he didn't try to win. I think it was on Chester because he didn't try to win.
I feel like if you're gonna make,
I want the Ray Cotolo. I want the inside harness comment here. I want the Ray Cotolo quote like the Scott Zeron with Pat saying, "Good for a second or third here." Ray saying, "This thing's gonna win. This is the single."
Yeah, Pat LaChance.
Scott Zeron, he's the man for post 10. He's the money man. This is gonna be a winner. One word.
Next time we have this podcast, Ray, if Pat LaChance win this race, you're gonna change your nickname on this podcast to Pat LaChance.
I'm sure Pat would love to share a name.
Jesus. It's like
my argument. If you want to play the money argument, this is going for double the purse money.
Yeah,
I am with you, Ray. I did use the horse in my ticket.
Maybe he can.
I think Thomas is being very hard here. I hate to have to agree with you, Ray, but the horse has a chance. I would not single though.
Yeah, sure, he can win, but it's not like you feel like if you have single on.
If I had all, I wouldn't feel confident in this race.
No, I agree. But if you have a single on Yannick Ringras or like Jason Bartlett, you know you're gonna at least I'm gonna have a shot. But if you single Pat LaChance, I don't want to see the race. I want to only see the results. Because if I have my Apple Watch on, that my heart rate would be so mad. I would throw so many remotes in the wall because he didn't pull the right line or did the move I was thinking he was going to do.
But Thomas, you're not accounting for what your Apple Watch metrics would read when you put your ticket into the machine and it says returning $10,000. I don't think you would care. You'd be like, who drove? Did John Campbell drive that horse in the last leg? That's wonderful.
I would be so happy for you if Pat LaChance roll this race and wins.
I think we can wrap it up. I mean, I think we've beat this horse to death.
No, we don't do that on this show. We only talk about horses and which horses to bet. We don't do stuff like that in a literal or figurative sense. That's been a discussion of this International Trot Pick 5 sequence. Hopefully, you find your way to a winning ticket. We talked about every single horse, it feels like, so there's a winning combo here somewhere. Thanks to Mikey, thanks to Geocache, thanks to Edison, who is going to go back on the highway to hell. i.e. his parents' house.
You know how in golf tournaments are wrapping up towards sunset, you're good on this stuff, Ray. Like they always talk about, the announcers always say, we're obligated to tell you, the focus of the camera lens and the exposure and the whatever, it looks way brighter than it actually is out there, blah, 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 blah. You have taken so long to finish this show. I have got both lights on in this car. It is actually truly just pitch black with them off. And
the spotlight's red in the dark.
Thank you,
Edison. We can turn down, this is how dark it truly is. Right? Look at that. That's how dark it truly is, right?
Edison, I am so glad that they have bright minds like you at NASA to let us know that when sun goes down, it gets dark. I don't know where our space program would be without you. I don't know what this race program would be without you. I know what it would be without me because I'm going. They're all going to stay. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening.